Hello and welcome to another video. I Love Scooby and I do love Scooby-Doo. Today we are going to be going through every episode of Scooby-Doo Where Are You and ranking them. As you can probably tell by these, there is no option to say an episode is bad and that I wouldn't watch it again. Because I actually love all the episodes, but some of them I can admit are better than others. And I'm gonna be making them based on the monster itself, the mystery, and any twists, turns, and also who turned out to be the bad guy. Because let's all be honest, some of them don't make much sense at all. Let's start off with the classic "A Night for a Night," since that's going right to Beyond approach. I think in general this episode probably is one of the biggest type of examples of what Scooby-Doo should be. The Black Knight was a great villain because he actually did have an aura of creepiness about him, especially when Scooby and Velma walked into the room and he followed behind them. Plus, there was also not only did it have the general creepiness and the mystery of it all, but you also actually had how it was. You also had the era of comedy as well, when Velma tied the scarf around Scooby when his teeth kept chattering. And plus, I also am giving you points for the fact that they brought both the Black Knight and Mr. Wiggles back for Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. It definitely is probably the perfect example of what Scooby-Doo is in terms of a whole, and not just a TV show. Ooh, let's also go with one another of the originals that is probably the most well known, the Creeper. He's definitely also going to Beyond approach. I will tell you all that all of these tiers will have at least one episode in them. The Creeper, of course, is definitely one of the main monsters that people think about when they think about Scooby-Doo, especially since probably the fact that all he says is paper in his creepy monster voice is definitely what adds to his whole scariness. Plus, I think everybody kind of loves the barn chase with Shaggy first, he's running away with a barrel on him, and then he rolls back into the barn while running on top of the barrel. Then you also had Scooby with the pitchfork, and Fred tripping the Creeper by accident. Plus, the entire thing with the baby chick was adorable. Scooby really would make a great dad, as long as it's not Scrappy. Ooh, let's go with the Phantom Shadows next, from A Night of Fright is No Delight. That episode, I'm gonna put that in more good. The reason it's down here is just, I think the whole thing that how they were supposed to be shadows was kind of lost when they were given two physical forms. Sure, they kind of had to be made physical in order for them to be unmasked, but at the same time, the episode would have been a lot better if there was some way for them to stay shadows and then still somehow be unmasked. Kind of like how in the episode with the castle and the Phantom, they found out how that magician did all his stuff. So it's if they found a way to make the shadows still be the actual ghosts, that probably would have made it better. But at the same time, there's still a lot of points given for the entire plan done by the lawyers. Even though, considering my cousin is a lawyer, I'm not sure they would actually keep the money, because I think they would more just be in charge of it rather than actually being able to use it. Let's go with the next one, the Gallop of Galloping Ghouls. I'm going to be putting those monsters all into the same category because they're all, the same episode. And I'm ranking the episodes, not the monsters. In general, I definitely do think that episode was a little... I think I'm just going to say it was a lot. But the fact that there was the three monsters plus the gypsy... It really was it was kind of just a lot to put into one episode. Sure, it all ended up being one person, but it just seemed a little too much. Ooh, the caveman. The caveman was definitely really good, especially since I like the red herrings are very good in a Scooby episode, and when they had the red herring of Professor, I think it was Professor Inkstrom. He was the one with the machine to talk to fish, and they thought that he was the caveman because like the other professor was gone. But of course, that only made the twist by being Professor Wayne instead of Professor Inkstrom even better. Plus, I think the fact that they actually reused the caveman in Scooby Doo and Guess You, the episode with Chloe Kim, they basically reused the whole caveman frozen in ice being unfrozen thing. That just shows how much better the caveman was, as well as the episode. Ooh. I might get some hate for this, but I'm actually gonna put the minor down for meh. Like, sure, it was an alright episode, but I think the fact that, well, the minor just seems just kind of boring in general. And plus, the episode itself was not just not as good as other episodes. But I do give it points for the entire thing with Scooby pretending to be trained with Shaggy doing the noise for it. That definitely does give it points in terms of funniness. But other than that, the episode was just kind of boring. Mr. Hyde. That was a great episode. I'm going to admit, because like the only points that I would lose for the fact that, well, I think he just kind of just lost me at the end, considering the whole frame job and that like the doctor was trying to do for his maid. It was just, I don't know, you kind of just lost me a few points, but other than that, the episode itself was great. The whole Shaggy being taken and nearly turned into a frog was great. Like, the entire, that chase scene and Scooby pushing him around, that was definitely very good. Ooh. For the haunted house hang up, I'm just gonna put that in good in terms of it. I think it's because definitely loses points because of how there was a second ghost that was not really a ghost. He was just, the one making the thumping noises. Like the actual Headless Spectre, that made the episode definitely better, and why it's not in either of these two categories. But at the same time, like, it just really is just because of this whole point where you kind of just lost me. The episode, every other parts of the episode were very good, especially with the balloon chase, as well as the entire when that ghost came out of the well. That was definitely also very good. Ooh, and here's that phantom from the episode I brought up earlier. I'm gonna put that meh. Like, yes, I like the twist that it was Home Magician, but you also kind of just lose me for that. I dislike in general when it's a character that has just not been introduced before. Most because it just kind of makes the episode lose a little bit of, like, because, like, most of the time it is characters we've met before that end up being the monster. Like, case in point with Never Ape and Ape Man. That episode, it was great. I'm gonna put there. Because, like, especially since I liked the entire idea of, like, an actual monster that the movie was based on being brought to life in terms of the ape man being made real. And plus, since it turned out to actually be the ape man stuntman, that was certainly, like, a little bit poetic, if you would say it. And plus, certainly the actors probably are a little bit bitter sometimes when they don't get the part that they want. The Snow Ghost. I'm gonna put the Snow Ghost episode down in meh. I know people really like the Snow Ghost, but I just have never been the biggest fan of it. Especially since, like, I don't know, it's the amount of red herrings in that episode just kind of, it made me very confused. Plus, one of the guys that ended up being guilty, like, the smaller guy that kept patting Scooby's head and calling him nice doggy, his voice was annoying, and I did not like that at all. But another monster that's definitely beyond approach, the Ghost Clown. That episode is definitely one of my favorites. Because, like, the entire time when you have the golden coin and the hypnosis being in play, you definitely were saw a villain that actually really could have won if he played his cards right, especially since Scooby, Shaggy, and Daphne all ended up under his control for a time. Like, if the Ghost Clown himself wasn't the one that freed Shaggy and Scooby, he actually might have gotten away with it. Especially since it was Shaggy and Scooby that ended up turning the tables on him in the end. The Mummy. That was actually another great episode. Because, like, I certainly love episodes where they actually do have a little bit of convincing, where they think, like, the villain has actually, like, done something to one of them. So it's like when they found the statue of Scooby, and, like, Shaggy had that little moment where he was so upset about Scooby being a statue. That definitely was very good, even if it turned out, even if literally in the next second Scooby was revealed to be completely okay. Ooh, Spooky Space Kook. That was definitely another one of my favorite episodes. In fact, when I was a child, the laugh of the Spooky Space Kook itself, that laugh haunted me. Like, it generally haunted me and it made me scared. But then again, I was, again, a kid, so that's why. So that's why it scared me so much. But everything with the episode was really good. The entire thing with the ghostly spacecraft, all the chases around the abandoned airfield, like, it really was very good, even if the villain turned out to be someone that they never met before. Well, I'm gonna be putting the werewolf down here with, like, everything else from the episode, but I've already ranked that episode, so there we go. Captain Cutler. I'm gonna put that one in great. And while a lot of people like Captain Cutler, I'm putting him here instead of Beyond Approach because, like I said, I just like how it's people that they haven't met before. Plus, like, the entire scene with, like, like, the captain's wife and the whole witchcraft thing, like, that was more, it wasn't the best thing ever. But I do like how it was Shaggy that figured out it was Captain Cutler. Because, like, with Shaggy and Scooby, like, they're the stereotypes of the cowards that don't really do much. But, like, this episode really showed that Shaggy could be smart when he figured out that it was Captain Cutler because of the picture on Widow Cutler's wall. That definitely was a good highlight for him. Oh, the Witch Doctor with Mano Tiki Tia. I'm putting them down. Putting that episode in good. While I do really like that episode, I feel like they could have used, like, Mano Tiki Tia even more than they did. It was mostly the Witch Doctor, which I can understand because, like, he was smaller than the Tiki, but, like, they could have had more scenes outside with Mano Tiki Tia to show how he was, like, supposed to be the main villain rather than the Witch Doctor. And plus, like, I sometimes think that the abandoned village thing, that was kind of, well, it wasn't used as much as I was supposed to be. Like, the gang did have a tour booked for that village, but they never even got to that day. Like, that wasn't really, I didn't like it that very much. Ooh, Charlie the Hunted Robot. That is another Beyond Approach episode. Because, like, Foul Play and Funland, it probably had the biggest twist of how, like, the actual robot wasn't really the bad guy. It was just a robot being controlled by someone else, and, like, the biggest twist was that the person had no real bad motive. She, I think her name was Sarah, and she was one of the owners of the amusement park. I definitely liked how her motive was that she didn't think robots were good for kids, so she was trying just to get Charlie out of the way by making him look dangerous. I definitely liked that, especially since, like, that did end up having a happy ending for everyone, and I will always love, like, Charlie scratching Scooby's ears. That was really good. Ooh, the Backstage Rage. I'm actually going to put that in Beyond Approach, just because that entire episode, like, the creepiness level and the actual general, like, fear that I actually had when I was a kid with that episode, that just makes the episode really good. Especially since, like, the entire scene with, like, the puppets making everybody scared, like, that really was so very good. And plus, like, the whole violent case full of money that it was Shaggy and Scooby figuring this all out in the beginning, that definitely made it good, showing more of their character. Ooh, the dog napping episode. I'm gonna put that in just alright. Cause, like, in general, it wasn't a bad episode, but also it wasn't necessarily the best episode. Especially since, like, I think the whole, like, with the whole another witch doctor being used, that kind of just like, even though it's a Native American one instead of a Hawaiian one, like there is still isn't much difference, especially when you look at them like that. Like they do look pretty similar. And other than not being very original, it's just like, I don't know, just kind of it just didn't do much for me. Ooh, which is which? Not only is it a tongue twister, but it was actually a great episode. Yes, we got another classic Daphne vanishing, being kidnapped by the ghost thing, but it's like it was made funnier because of the whole when Velma thought that Daphne was a ghost for a second before they pulled the sheet off of her. Plus the entire thing where it's like Velma like tripped, fell in a soap that she accidentally launched, opened up the secret door. That was definitely very funny, especially when like Velma said a secret passage would open up in the movies, but then like when Fred said that he'd never seen it done like that, and she said it must have been in a soap opera. That was definitely a great joke that I'm probably not doing very good in terms of justice for it without him explaining it. Ooh, the Hex one with the ghosts of Elias Kingston. That's his name. Took me a minute to remember. That was definitely a great one. Because, like, I think in general, the makeup work in terms of, like, what the actual, of, like, Uncle Stewart did to himself to make himself look old, like, how that was actually played out in this, that was actually very good. Like, you maybe lost me for, like, a second when it's, like, his skeleton was revealed, but at the same time, that was actually very good, especially because of how, like, it was being built up to the entire family being aged out into that in order to get the fortune. That was definitely very good, especially since it turned out to be Uncle Stewart trying to get the fortune for himself. Like, twists like that definitely are very good in these episodes. The werewolf. That wasn't all. You know what? That was more meh. It was because, like, the idea of, like, the episode being about sheep smuggling, you really completely lost me on that one. Like, sure, the actual werewolf itself was a good villain, especially since it was, like, either a ghost or zombie werewolf. Like, that was definitely good, but, like, again, sheep smuggling, not good. The Wax Phantom, and putting his episode in good. Like, the episode definitely was pretty good in terms of the actual, like, that's good, the actual monster, the Wax Phantom, but, like, again, you really lost me on, like, his motive. So it's like, he was haunting a wax museum because he stole the TV show's funds and wanted to leave the country. Like, that's where you kind of lost me, because, like, why did he go to the wax museum anyway? He could have just literally gone to his flight after, the whole Phantom thing. And, like, he wanted to, the blame would have been on the guy that supposedly created the Wax Phantom. Like, that probably, he would have gotten away scot-free if he had just freaking left like he planned. But instead, he went to the Wax Museum to try and build up the whole Wax Phantom thing. So, and that's what made him completely fail. Ooh, the Mystery Mask Mix-Up. Another tongue twister episode. That was another just good one. Like, it certainly was, like, a pretty good episode, especially with Scooby being the one to figure out that the note was just written backwards rather than in Chinese like they thought, and he figured out about where the actual villains had taken Daphne. But at the same time, just like the two like zombie things that like Shaggy and Scooby called the scare pair, I don't know, they weren't that good. But definitely the episode gains a lot of points for that big chase scene that they did with like the van and the being followed by the zombies. That was definitely very good. But at the same time, yeah, it was definitely just like a medium type of episode. Redbeard the Pirate, the last episode. That was a great episode. Because like Redbeard itself is a really good like villain, especially since Redbeard, along with Charlie the Haunted Robot, the Creeper, and Captain Cutler, they all made another appearance in that episode of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, with the actual voice actors playing themselves along with like the gang. So it's like, so definitely those four are definitely at the top four when people think about Scooby-Doo, along with like Space Kook, the Ghost Clown, and the Black Knight. But with Redbeard himself, he definitely was a great villain, especially since he had a great creepy hideout, as well as how he certainly was very threatening. And plus the fact that he captured Fred, Daphne, and Velma all instead of just Daphne or Shaggy and Scooby, that definitely did make him a great villain, especially since he was really good with his effects with the black ice, dry ice, not black ice. So it's he definitely was a really great villain. And plus, he was another one that made a reappearance because C.L. Magnus, he was shown to be one of the people at the bar during Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. So all in all, well, definitely a great episode. Thank you all for coming. This was me ranking every single Scooby-Doo Where Are You episode, and I hope you all enjoyed it. But again, these are just my opinions, so if you have any hate, again, haters back off. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.